to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and we're here today with a full review of West Cork triple distilled Irish whiskey, bourbon cask, matured. If you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. If you're a returning viewer, always good to see you. You know how we do. Come on in and let's get on with the show. So this is a blended, it's 75% grain with 25% malt. They do use first fill bourbon barrels, or casks, if you will. This does say that it is non-chill filtered. There is no age statement. They do use sprang barley, and they use handmade pot stills. Also a rocket still. I'm not quite sure what that is. I didn't look it up. That was kind of a last minute little find. So this distillery was established in 2003 on the island of Cork. I'm sorry. Yeah, like what? No, Cork, Ireland. Now it is the Republic of Ireland for all of you that who really have the heritage. It is the Republic of Ireland and not just Ireland. So I believe we're going to go ahead and just get a look at the bottle. You see it is triple distilled, matured at origin using Irish grain, aged in first fill bourbon casks. It is 40% alcohol by volume. Pretty standard for any Irish. And then you got all that good story stuff. People who import it, people who make it, and the people who drink it. There you go. Go ahead and get a pour on. It's got a metal twist cap. Might be a little too much. Okay. So we're going to get a look at that color. That is a beautiful color, but we're not just going to take these little eyes for it. We're going to go ahead and break out Mr. Randy's handy dandy whiskey color scale. And off screen, we're going to try and nail it down. Looks like probably going to say a medium. Yeah, medium brown seems to fit it just fine. Thank you for that. So Mr. Randy paid just under $30 out the door for this bottle. As far as I've noticed, being that the Irish sections in most bottle stores are really tiny, probably, no, I'm going to say definitely always less than the Scotch. So 40% for under 30. Non-chill filtered, non-age stated. Handmade pot stills, that's neat. It is a blended of grain and malt, mostly grain. I'm more of a malt man myself, but sometimes you can be surprised by grain. So on the nose, it's light but somewhat distinguished. It's got sort of a honey, heather, golden peanut, light on the peanuts actually. Or maybe it's not peanut, maybe it's some kind of nut. But I'm leaning towards peanut. A little bit of spice. The ethanol is there. If you dig deep enough, you can get the ethanol. But I think everything is well balanced on that nose. It's got a light sweetness, a light spiciness. It's got a nice nose. So let's get on the palate and see how that goes. A lot of everything that's on that nose is on the palate, except I think the middle part where the spice and maybe nut comes out a little bit more. You do get some sweetness on the back end. Spice hangs around a little bit. Not too bad. I've had spicier Irish. I've had more mellow Irish. Let's get one more on the palate, and then we'll move on to the finish. Yeah. I'm definitely going to say that palate, a lot better than the nose. I'd say the nose is probably a 2 out of 5. The palate's going to be at least a 3 out of 5. Now on with the finish, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and get those remnants. On the finish, you're going to have a little bit of uptick on the spice. It's actually kind of nice. An Irish that has a little bit more heftier of a finish. And I'm going to say that most of that's going to come out of the bourbon cask that it matures in. Now, if you know anything about Irish, but if you don't, triple distilled really takes a lot out of the spirit and mostly is replaced by whatever it matures in. So triple distilled Irish matured in bourbon cask is going to give you a more of a bourbon type of characteristics. And that's good for bourbon drinkers. If you're a bourbon drinker and you want to try something a little on the lighter end, but you also want to try an Irish, I think this would foot the bill. Fit the bill. Foot the bill is when you have to pay the bill. Fit the bill is when it checks all the boxes and it works. Anyways, I apologize. Okay, so on the finish, it's still kind of lingering around, but everything has moved towards the back, and it's sitting on the back of the mouth, about the top of the esophagus. There is slight bit of tingliness, generally and all around cheeks, roof of the mouth, the tongue. Not so much. Honestly, that's kind of odd. Very mellow. No, we said it. There's a lot of spice. I remember now. There was a lot of spice. Much more than the palate. So the spice on the finish is probably going to be a 4 out of 5. The sweetness is, I don't know, barely a 2. You can barely get the sweetness out on the finish. There's not a lot of oakiness. I think there's a well balance to this whiskey. Because of the triple distilled Irish that's matured in bourbon cask, you're going to get a well-rounded deal. And that it's made in pot stills. It is a blend of the grains and the malts. I think this is a well-rounded Irish whiskey. The finish is pretty good. It's all but gone now. It had mostly spice and then the warmth on the end. But other than that, everything else was relatively mellow. Quite a complex finish if I think about it. So let's put a score on this. Less than $30, standard 40%, no color, no chill filtered, no age statement. Doesn't say anything about no color added, but because it is a triple distilled bourbon cask matured, and that's relatively on the lighter end, I'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts this probably no color added. I would like to know that. If you know that and have a link to a source or something like that, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know, because this is a pretty good Irish. It is $30, 40% standards. It's a blended of grain and malt. If you're not too big on grain, we understand. It is matured in first fill bourbon casks. No chill filter, no age statement. But also let me know in the comments if you got any idea about how the ages on these are. I'm going to give this a strong 3 out of 5. I think it is a really good, really respectable whiskey. And for less than $30, it's a why not. You got to try this. If you're into Irish or want to get into Irish, especially if you're a bourbon drinker, this would be the Irish to try. My fair price for this, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone at $30. So would I buy this again? Maybe. Quite possibly. I would have no qualms if I was looking for an Irish and I was exhausted all my new choices. This would be one I would go for. Yes, there are a handful of others that would go before this one, but I would still have no qualms taking this one home. So let us know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. You have a good one.